Good morning, everyone. Happy Easter. Alleluia. Christ is risen. The Lord is risen indeed. Alleluia. Alleluia. Happy Easter to you and happy Easter to your family. I'm very, very glad to be here with you electronically today. I hope that the 3 days at home worship has helped you arrive at Easter in a place where, even given the circumstances that we face, you are able to participate in the realities of the resurrected Jesus. I hope that you thoroughly also enjoyed the worship with the National Cathedral that we just participated in. It truly was beautiful, and Michael Curry is a wonderful preacher. And with that in mind, I will keep this very short this morning, but I did want to share a few insights with you from the Gospel of Matthew that's appointed for today. So let's read that very quickly, and then I'll share some short thoughts with you. A reading from the Gospel of Matthew. After the Sabbath, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb, and suddenly there was a great earthquake. For an angel of the Lord descending from heaven came and rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing was white as snow. For fear of him, the guards shook and became like dead men. But the angel said to the woman, "Do not be afraid. I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has been raised, as he said. Come, see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell the disciples, he has been raised from the dead, and indeed he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. This is my message for you." So they left the tomb quickly with fear and joy and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them and said, "Greetings." And they came to him, took hold of his feet, and worshipped him. And then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me." There's two pieces in this passage that are extremely, I think, prevalent and jump off the page at me today. The first is, after they have this encounter, the women go to the tomb, and they have this encounter with this angel. And it says that they left the tomb filled with joy and fear. Filled with joy and fear. The resurrection of Jesus is a moment that when we sit and really think about it, when we really contemplate what God has done in creation, when we really think about what it means that Jesus is raised, it's one that fills us with joy, but can also be overwhelming. It can be a thought that we can't wrap our head around. And earlier in the week, you heard me talk about the mystery of God's kingdom. And I think that's exactly where that fear or overwhelmed feeling comes from. It's that reality that God's kingdom is much more than we can imagine. And so it absolutely requires that we step into it faithfully with the knowledge that we will never fully understand it, but that we can fully participate in it. Which I think brings us to the next piece that I think jumps off the page, or it did jump off the page for me today, and that is the piece where Jesus tells them, the angel tells them, "Go tell the disciples that he has gone ahead of them to Galilee, and that's where they will see him." Jesus had already told all of his disciples, all of his followers, that these events would happen. He told them that he would die. He told them that he would be dead for 3 days, that he would be resurrected, and they didn't understand. And he told them that when these things happened, that he would go ahead of them to Galilee, and that's where they would find him. And in the gospel account, we read what happens when they encounter the risen Christ in Galilee. In Matthew's gospel, he gives the Great Commission. But he says, "Go ahead. I've gone ahead of them to Galilee, and that's where they will find me." I think that's the piece that is most prevalent for us today on Easter 2020. The resurrected Jesus goes ahead of us to Galilee. Now, maybe we aren't headed to Galilee, although some of you I know have been there. But all of us are headed somewhere. It doesn't matter who we are. It doesn't matter what we are up to. It doesn't matter what our lives require of us. It doesn't matter if we're retired, if we work. It doesn't matter if we're old or if we're young. It doesn't matter if we're tall or short. None of these things matter at all. Because the resurrected Jesus has gone ahead of us into Galilee. And that's where we will find Him. He's gone ahead of us into the Galilees of our life. He's gone ahead of us in the stay-at-home orders because of COVID-19. He's gone ahead of us to the reopening of our church at some point in time in the future where we gather together again. He's gone ahead of us into sickness and into health. He's gone ahead of us into all things. The resurrected Jesus has gone ahead of us. And our jobs as followers is to go to Galilee to see Him, to step faithfully into our life, regardless of what it may throw at us, regardless of what we may face, regardless of what is out there, knowing full and well that if we are seeking the resurrected Christ, that He has gone ahead of us to wherever we are, and we will find Him. That Jesus' resurrection has transformed us. It has transformed the world. The reality of God's kingdom is breaking into the world, and Christ has gone ahead of us to show us the way. I don't know if it does the same for you that it does for me, but the idea that Jesus has gone ahead of us, the idea that Jesus is moving in the world out there just waiting for us to find Him, really gives me joy and hope on this Easter day, even when I can't be with you. It lets me know that even standing in a church preaching to a camera, that Christ is here with us. Christ is in your homes with you, and Christ will be with us and always go ahead of us for us to find Him. His resurrection will always call to us and invite us to allow our own lives to be resurrected. Amen. Again, guys, happy Easter. I pray that you have a wonderful day. Please remain safe. Please continue to pray for one another. Stay connected to one another. Reach out to one another. Pray for our bishop. Pray for all the ministers and the priests in the Diocese of Louisiana and across this country and in the world. And continue to pray for those doctors and nurses and first responders and all of those who continue to go to work every day in the face of danger to allow our community to move forward and to help us get back to a place to where we can be together again. And I'll say one more time, Alleluia. Christ is risen. The Lord is risen indeed. Alleluia. I miss you. I love you. And I'll see you soon.